Okay, so have you ever decided you're going to learn something new, something kind of complex, like maybe, I don't know, coding, or even just identifying all the birds in your backyard?
Oh, yeah, that initial burst of enthusiasm.
Right, and then you get the big book, the comprehensive one that promises
The
everything.
1,000-page monster.
Exactly. You open it up, and maybe you're trying to learn North American birds, and there are like 1,000 species staring back at you.
It's overwhelming. Instantly.
It is. It's like analysis paralysis kicks in right there. And honestly, most people probably just put the book down.
Before even getting started.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're looking at the structure, the architecture of how you learn something complex. We're using a specific beginner's guide, 150 Birds of North America. Not really to talk about the birds themselves, but to unpack how it's built. How do its creators take that massive topic and turn, raw curiosity into actual usable competence? It's kind of a blueprint, really.
Yeah, and what's really interesting here is that the main problem this guide tackles isn't, like, biology. It's cognitive load. Think about those huge bird atlases. They're fantastic for experts, right? They need that completeness. Every species, every detail.
Sure.
But for you, when you're just starting out, that level of detail is actually a huge barrier. So this guide's main goal is simplification. Radical simplification, actually.
Okay, let's unpack that. The first big decision, and it feels pretty radical, is cutting the scope way down from over 1,000 possible birds down to just 150. I mean, that's slicing off, 85% of the info?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why be so aggressive? Aren't you worried you'll miss something, see a bird that's just not in the book?
That's a really fair question, and it gets right to the heart of the strategy. It's not random, that 150 number. These are specifically chosen. They're the most common birds, the most widespread, the ones you're most likely to actually see.
Okay. So the greatest hits, basically.
Pretty much. Think about it when you're starting. The biggest killer is uncertainty. You see a bird, you excitedly flip through this massive 500-page book, can't find it, you just get discouraged, right? Instantly.
Yeah, you feel like you failed already.
Exactly. So by focusing only on the 150 birds you're statistically very likely to encounter in your backyard, your neighborhood park to lead, the guide guarantees some early wins. It builds that positive feedback loop right from the get-go. Hey, I saw a bird. I found it in the book. I know what it is.
Gotcha. So it's like a temporary filter. You sacrifice that scientific completeness for a while in favor of actual practical use and, keeping you motivated. Psychological momentum.
Precisely. You're not getting bogged down trying to identify some super rare bird, a vagrant, as birders call them, when you haven't even mastered the common stuff. A beginner needs to confidently tell a house sparrow from, say, an American goldfinch first. That's the priority.
Okay. So it's selective knowledge for rapid skill building. Makes sense. Reduce the scope, reduce the overwhelm, increase the chance of success.
You got it.
Now, speaking of structure, that's another place where those big, comprehensive guides can trip up a beginner. You often see them organized by scientific family, right? Taxonomy. Ducks first, then geese, falcons, owls, following the evolutionary tree.
Yep, the standard scientific approach.
Which is logical, scientifically, but it means you kind of have to already know some biology before you can even find the bird you just saw.
It forces you to learn two things at once, the bird ID and the classification system.
But this beginner guide, this is where it gets really interesting, right? It just ditches that structure completely.
Completely. It goes for a utility-based approach, non-taxonomic. It organizes things the way a beginner actually thinks in the field.
How so?
Well, think about when you spot a bird, your first thought isn't usually, that must be in the order Passeriformes.
No, definitely not.
Right. Your brain notices where it is. Is it at my feeder? Is it swimming on the pond?
Or maybe how big it is.
Exactly. Or what it looks like, small and yellow, or huge and soaring. The guide uses those immediate intuitive cues. It groups the 150 species into 4 main categories based on basically where you find them or their general size and type.
Okay, let's break down those categories because they seem key to making the search manageable.
They are. First up, backyard birds.
Makes sense. Start where you are.
Exactly. These are the species you're very likely to see in new houses, at feeders, in city parks. You know, your American robins, blue jays, northern cardinals, common stuff right where you live.
Connects the book immediately to your most likely starting point. Okay, what's next?
Next is songbirds. Now, obviously, some songbirds are also backyard birds, but this category groups smaller, often more colorful birds. And crucially, they're often distinguished as much by their songs and calls as by sight, so the focus shifts a bit.
Yeah, interesting distinction. So backyard birds is about location, Songbirds might lean more towards how you identify them using your ears, too.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Then we have shorebirds and waterbirds.
Okay, habitat-based again.
Right. This groups anything you'd find near water lakes, rivers, marshes, the coast. So gulls, ducks, herons, sandpipers. If you're by the water, you flip to this section. Simple.
Cuts down the search immediately. And the last one.
Finally, raptors and larger birds. This is basically the size and type category. Your hawks, eagles, owls, vultures, the big, impressive flyers.
So if you see something large circling way up high, you know exactly where to look.
You got it. You see a bird, you make a quick judgment. Where is it? How big is it? And boom, you've likely eliminated 75% of the book straight away.
That's clever. It maps directly onto your observation process as a beginner, making the guide feel like a tool you can use right away, not some dense library you have to study first.
It connects the identification directly to the context. It's practical. It uses simple cues, not complex scientific classifications you haven't learned yet.
Okay, so we've used the categories, narrowed it down. Now we need to nail the specific bird. Let's zoom in on the actual species profiles for each of those 150 birds. What specific bits of info do they include to make sure a beginner can confidently say, yes, that's the one?
Right, the profiles themselves are really well thought out. They give you layers of confirmation. Knowing a quick glance often isn't enough for a newbie. First, obviously, the visual aids, full-color photos or really detailed illustrations. But critically, they focus on highlighting the key field marks, the specific things you need to look for. And, super important, they almost always show both male and female if they look different.
Well, that's huge, because a male cardinal and a female cardinal can look like totally different species if you don't know.
Totally. A beginner could waste ages looking for a mystery brown bird that's just the female of a common species. The guide stops that confusion before it starts.
Smart. What else is in the profile?
Okay, second, you get concise text descriptions, the key field marks. This points out in words the unique features, size, main colors, maybe a specific marking like an eye ring, a wing bar striping on the breast, the absolute must-know ID points.
Verbal shortcuts for the visuals. Got it.
Third, crucial context, habitat and range. Where does this bird usually live? Dense forest, open fields, urban areas. And you get a simple map showing where in the country it's found and when is it there year-round, just for breeding, only in winter.
Right, so that helps you reality check your ID, doesn't it? Like if you think you saw a mountain bird in the middle of a coastal city in January.
Exactly. The range map or habitat description immediately tells you, probably not that species. It reinforces that birding isn't just about appearance.
It's about where and when, too. The context.
Precisely. Context is a huge confirmation layer, especially when you're learning. Visual guess plus context check equals more confidence.
Okay, makes sense. Is there a fourth piece?
Yep. Fourth is behavioral notes. Brief details on what the bird typically does. How does it forage? Does it peck on the ground, snatch insects midair? What are its nesting habits like? Does it have a really distinctive call or song?
So another layer of confirmation. If the description says ground feeder, but you saw your bird hunting insects way up in a tree.
You know, you should probably reconsider your identification. It all works together. Visuals, text, range, habitat, behavior. Multiple checks.
It really sounds like the guide acts like a portable mentor. So beyond just identifying the birds, what else does it teach? What's in those introductory sections to help someone actually start the hobby?
Yeah, that's key. It doesn't just drop you into the species. There's a whole birdwatching basics and starter tips section. And this is what really turns it from just a reference book into a guide for actually doing the hobby. It starts with the practical stuff, like getting started, basic equipment advice, mostly focuses on binoculars, how to choose a decent pair, but maybe more importantly, how to actually use them effectively. Focusing, finding the bird,
Which isn't always obvious when you first pick them up.
Not at all. So it tackles that immediate barrier, turns birding from an abstract idea into, okay, I need binoculars, here's how they work.
And the jargon. Does it help with that? Terms like field marks or vagrant that we used earlier.
Yep, there's a simple terminology glossary. It defines the key terms you'll encounter, but without being overwhelming. It gives you the basic language to understand descriptions and maybe even talk to other birders.
Opens the door to the community language.
Then it gets more proactive. There's a section on attracting birds.
Ooh, nice. Taking control.
Exactly. It shifts you from just passively hoping to see birds to actively creating an environment for them. Tips on feeders, what kind, where to put them, bird baths, even using native plants that birds like.
That's great because it gives you a concrete project, something you can do to increase your chances of seeing birds right at home. Gives you agency.
Totally. And then finally, and this might be the most important bit for long-term learning guidance on logging and documentation.
Taking notes.
Taking good notes. How to record what you saw, where, when, what it was doing. This is the engine for improvement over time. It moves the learning out of just flipping through the book and into active practice and reflection.
So pulling it all together, the guide isn't just giving you answers, it's structuring the entire learning process. From just noticing a bird to actively observing, identifying, confirming, and then documenting it. It's teaching a skill methodology.
It really is like having a patient teacher. It simplifies the world for you at first, groups information in ways that make sense intuitively, it gives you a system for confirming what you see, and it anticipates the beginner's questions, like, okay, I saw a bird, now what? It gives practical, repeatable steps that lead to quick success and validation.
So let's recap the core value here for you, the learner. We've seen how this guide takes a potentially paralyzing topic, over 1,000 birds, and makes it manageable. It uses smart organization, cutting down to 150 common species, grouping them by where you see them or what they look like, and that provides a seriously fast track to feeling knowledgeable and confident.
Absolutely. The genius is how the structure guides your effort to where it pays off fastest. Building that initial confidence is everything. Once you feel you can identify the common stuff, then you have the foundation and the motivation to maybe get that bigger atlas and start tackling the trickier species. It builds you up.
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive into how expertise is built, here's a final thought to chew on, kind of building on that last point about notes. That section on logging and documentation, its presence, suggests something really important. Maybe the journey to becoming a truly knowledgeable birder doesn't start when you buy the binoculars or even when you identify your first bird. Maybe it really begins when you start treating your sightings like data, systematically recording what you see. Perhaps the biggest shortcut to expertise in any field is just keeping really good notes.